Have it your way, then. You're just a rat in a cage anyway.
Does he do the laugh here?
I'll be sure to keep you
I think he does.
entertained before I dispose of you.
Hello, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on my video, and I wanted to let you know not only do I create content on my YouTube channel here, Class in a Glass, but I'm also on Twitch where I play single-player games, multiplayer games, I do movie reviews, cartoon reviews, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Also, it would be a big help if you can check out my Patreon, where you can gain access to audio commentaries, reactions, and the ability to submit questions for my podcasts and videocasts. And all that content can be found in the links below. In the meantime, enjoy the video. But now, chat, now we can go ahead and get to today's main topics, which is, of course, my very generous patrons' Patreon questions. And we're going to start, like I said, I'm going to start in the order which I received these, chat. We're going to go in chronological order, if you will. And Vanispheres was the first person to submit questions, chat, and we're going to read his questions first, okay? And he has a lot of themes, which I really do appreciate, his themed questions. And this one was interesting because I forgot this game happened. But he says, for this week's questions, let's talk about an OG Xbox classic, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I never played this game, but I was aware of it back in the day. I just didn't play because I wasn't a big Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan. I tried to watch the first season. This wasn't for me. But this is his first question. He has a movie question, chap. Buffy started out as a film starring Christy Swanson. I remember that. Donald Sutherland, Paul Rubens, Luke Perry, and Rutger Hauer. If they had transitioned to a 7-season TV show and now a long-running comic book, What We Do in the Shadows also successfully made the movie to TV as well. Made the move to TV as well, excuse me. What film do you think could make the transition to TV? If only a studio took the chance. Even though, several things came to mind immediately. And one of them was something where we've already kind of seen, it's like, all right, clearly you're heavily inspired by this movie and you had your own TV show and they were whatever. But I feel like Blade Runner is one of those movies, whether it be the original Blade Runner or 2049, that would, I think, almost have done better had it been a TV show, Chad. Because if I have any criticisms for those two movies, and I like them both, and I think I even like 2049 even more than the first one. But they do have, I think, some pacing issues, and they are quite long. And I think maybe have made it like an ongoing series on television that was, between 45, 50-minute episodes. Would have been a lot better. Would have been expand upon some of these characters and concepts and the world itself, really explore, because the world is fascinating for Blade Runner. It's like, what the hell happened here? Is there some kind of war? It's set also in the Alien universe, too. So maybe you could have had, more, details in the background for that. But Blade Runner has always been one of those properties I feel like that could be expanded in a great way on television. Since for whatever reason, the movies just, mass audiences don't seem to have responded well to those films. Definitely, incredibly influential, chat, in cyberpunk and things and general aesthetics over the last nearly 40 years now. Yeah, 40 years now. I mean, Blade Runner, the original one, had its 40th anniversary this past year. But, yeah, I feel like the property can live again. And we kind of seen that recently. I totally forgot. Blade Runner has a TV series right now. It's the anime, I believe, on, Adult Swim. So that already has a series. So I guess my thing is I would like to see a live-action Blade Runner series. And so I haven't watched that new animated show. I don't know if it's good or not. I'm hoping that it is. But, yeah, I feel like that property could definitely live on the small screen, chat, on television, and give time to explain some of these other concepts that, maybe it struggles with explaining in a 2.5 hour, 3 hour format. Another one, chat, which is obvious one, The Dark Tower. Stephen King's Dark Tower. I know that had been in some form of development hell for years. Is that show even happening? It's pretty meh, Chris. The animated show for Blade Runner. That's too bad. I was hoping that would be better. But The Dark Tower is one that I really want to see adapted. I'm a big Dark Tower fan. I like Stephen King, and that series, that is his Lord of the Rings. That is his grand epic, chat, blending all sorts of genre of sci-fi and fantasy and westerns, other modern sensibilities too. And it's his books are in their own universe, like Dark Tower is connected to The Stand, and you have some other books that are like, and that's also connected to It and things, and that's fascinating. But for whatever reason, they did a movie, The Dark Tower, which was a super loose adaptation of The Gunslinger, but on that also wasn't. It was like a what if, like, oh, well, this story actually takes place after the events of The Dark Tower. It's like, what are you doing? Very confusing. So, and again, you try to fit so much material into one movie is ridiculous. Make that a TV series. And I don't know if that's actually happening right now. But, again, it's always been some form of production, I feel like, for the last 15 years. And there's always rumors and things. And I guess it might be getting an HBO Max series. I don't know. I just don't know. But that one is just obvious. That is like, they should have never made a film. Much like Buffy, that was one of those things like, no, it was better for television. And so I'm hoping we'll get a Dark Tower series, live action series. Hell, I'll even go with animation, Chad, at this fucking point. Let's do that. I'll sell for an animated, adaptation of Stephen King's work. So I think that'd be fun. Another one, Chad. I feel like this would have done a lot better had it been a series. But The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Chad. Again, based on the Alan Moore graphic novels. They did that movie. It was the movie that ended Sean Connery's career, that made him retire, Chad. He said, fuck it. He passed on all these other big projects back in the day, Lord of the Rings and The Matrix, because he didn't get them. But he's like, all right, well, I guess I'll pick this big genre thing. He said, I can't stand this. Terrible movie, one of the worst comic book adaptations of the 2000s. But it's based on great material, chat, where it's taking all these fictitious literary characters like Quatermain and, Mina Harker and The Visible Man and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and they basically form a super team, a very dysfunctional super team that has all their various issues. Some of them are drug addicts, some of them are psychopaths, others are rapists, and you have to see, that like they have to put all that aside to save the day. To the best of their abilities, and it's a very dark. It's a very dark series, and the movie just kind of sanitized all that. And it's like, no, you should delve into how fucked up and tragic and horrifying some of these characters are. Like, don't lean away from that. No, lean into that. And they didn't do that for the movie. It was too bad. They tried to make it for mass audiences, and so that is one that is definitely ripe for another adaptation. I don't know if they would ever do that, but that would be really cool. I would hope they would do that again. It deserves to be told, Chad. That's a story that deserves to be told in a live action format. And another one, because I thought about it, because recently we've seen all these Star Wars shows on Disney Plus TV, whatever you want to say. And Star Wars seems to be proliferating quite well on television. They seem to have got a handle on that. We have all these upcoming, recently had The Mandalorian, Season 1, Season 2. We're currently watching The Book of Boba Fett, and I'm really liking that. We've seen the return of stuff like in Clone Wars, and you have Rebels, and we have some other shows on the horizon, stuff like The Rangers of the New Republic, and The Acolyte, and the Obi-Wan Kenobi miniseries. And so it's like, oh, wow, okay, Star Wars seems to be doing well for TV. But, the movies, it's been very hit and miss. There's some movies I've really liked, I've really enjoyed. I'm a big fan. I'm still a big fan of The Force Awakens and Rogue One. The other movies, not so much. But one in particular always stood out to me. It's like, this would have been better had you, even though I probably didn't even want it, but it's like, you should have taken more time to tell this story. Because I think I rushed over a few things. And that's Solo, chat. That's Solo, a Star Wars story where we learn about a young Han Solo before the events of A New Hope. I think it's like set 10 years before A New Hope. It's where he meets Chewie and he gets the Falcon and, meets Lando Calrissian. And I feel like that would have been better had that actually been a series. Because it just, the movie had various issues already, with, Phil Lord and Chris Miller being taken off the project, and then Ron Howard coming in there and reshooting like 80% of the movie. It's ridiculous. But I felt like I would have liked to have seen that story take place over a longer period of time instead of just, under 2 hours. And by the end of the movie, spoiler, he already had the Falcon. It's like, nah, I don't think that should happen. I don't think by the end of the season he should have the Falcon. It's like, let's take our time with this. Let's explore this relationship. Why are him and Chewie so close? I feel like they rushed over all this material. Let's really go into the relationship that like Han and Lando have, and why it's it's very complicated. Why he's unsure of like contacting him and getting in touch with him in Empire. Like, okay, what happened? You know, I just don't feel like there was enough material in the movie where it's like, okay, and that sets up this, and this. That didn't feel like it was enough to me. And so I feel like that would have been a show, or excuse me, that would have been a movie that would have been done much better as a show. And I think we would have gotten a little more used to Alden Ehrenreich as Han. Because, you know, I mean, he's stepping into the boots of one of the most iconic sci-fi heroes of all time. It's kind of rough. So I think that would have been a little bit better. That's me, chat. But yeah, just to reiterate, Blade Runner, Dark Tower, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Solo, a Star Wars story. Those are the things I feel like would do better had they been, or had to make the transition to TV or streaming or something like that. Long-form storytelling, chat. Oh, says, man, I don't watch Star Wars or really care for it, but I wanted to watch that movie at the time. I was like, Lando, I would love a Lando movie. Or a Lando TV series. That would be great. Then he said, I'd be like, so it's a fun space western. Can't about him. But here's the thing. Should we blame League for killing Sean's career? With multiple times Sean turned down major roles like Gandalf, John Hammond, and more. Oh, no, I'm not. You know, I'm not saying that you know, that was. It was just at that point. He's like, I'm just done. It was a number of things, I think, at that point. He's like, okay, I just don't get this era of Hollywood right now, or these types of movies. But, you know, it didn't help. Didn't help. That movie didn't help anyone's career. Even though becoming Ashes, that was another one. That's true, Vanny. That's a great example of making the transition from movies to television and doing it very well, in my opinion. Great answer. Great answer. I have an answer. Age of Ultron was a week. It was a week of Ultron that could have been a show. I mean, yeah. That was a week. That was like a weekend of Ultron. Was it even a week? I think it was like a weekend of Ultron. Yeah, let's see what else you guys are saying right now. Would a Matrix TV show work? I mean, at this point, I don't even want that. But I think back in the day, it could have. Like after the first film and like exploring Zion, but maybe it's not just Neo. It's these other people. I think they could have done that. It would have been better than the most recent movie. That I can say. Yes. I don't know what they were thinking, handing over Blade Runner's name to people who made the animated show. That's too bad. Let's see what else you guys are saying. RoboCop would be good. I could see RoboCop working. That'd be fun. Total Recall would probably get stale if it go on TV. Yeah, you know, I mean, I love that original Total Recall movie. It's so much fun. I just don't. The thing is, you bring up Total Recall, bring up RoboCop. Those are that is the best of like Paul Verhoeven and Starship Troopers. But those two movies, RoboCop and Total Recall. You know, that was an era of Hollywood where they were greenlighting these hard R, super gory, super violent, satirical blockbuster films. And we don't often see that anymore. That was like a really special time. And I feel like if they were to, and offensive too, and I feel like if they were to attempt to do that again, it would never measure up to those movies. You know? It wouldn't have that Paul Verhoeven flavor, that meaty, bloody Paul Verhoeven flavor, which I think is necessary. Why those films did so well and are so iconic and remain in the pop culture zeitgeist and are so special. Yeah, I mean, because when you think of like Total Recall now, or not that people think about this movie, but when I think of, you know, attempts to make a Total Recall movie, I think of that movie with Colin Farrell from like 2012 or 13 and how awful that was, how boring. It was sanitized. And yes, I know it was closer to the original book by Philip K. Dick, that sure, whatever, but it just didn't measure up to the original in any capacity. It was uninteresting. It was boring. The color palette was just all blues and grays. When you think of that original movie, you think of the oranges and the reds and the over-the-top nature of like these neighborhoods filled with muties and shit. It's like, oh, it's so cool. And there's action scenes and people's faces are going, rah! They're exposed to the vacuum of space. Like, that's what I want. And everybody's like, huh? That Verhoeven touch. And I need Verhoeven to touch me, chat. I need Paul Verhoeven to touch me. Because he did back in the day. And I don't know if anyone could measure up to him in his interpretations of those stories. I don't know if they can do it. I mean, it certainly didn't happen with the RoboCop movie from the mid-2010s. What was that, 2014's RoboCop? PG-13 bullshit. I was like, no, thank you. I'm good. No, I need that. I need that Paul Verhoeven touch. And I don't know if anyone can. I mean, I'm sure someone can emulate that. And there's no doubt, but it's as if it's as you say here, Vanny. If only a studio took the chance. I don't know if a studio nowadays will take the chance to make something like RoboCop 87 or Total Recall of the 1990s one, you know? But I would love if they did. I would love that. I kind of miss that era of filmmaking. Now, balls to the wall. Let's go fucking crazy. Let's have fun. Let's be gory. Yeah, but I don't know. We don't often see that. If we do see that stuff, it's on television or, you know, it's on Shudder or something like that. It's a damn shame we don't see these kind of blockbusters anymore. Vanderbilt's still alive for if he wants to make another movie. He's also, I mean, he is, but it's like I don't know if a studio would want to do that though. Like I would love to have him, like him and Cronenberg and all those people, to make a film in the style that they used to back in the day. But there just doesn't seem to be any interest on both audiences and studios' part to make a movie like that, which is too bad. I want that. I desperately want that, Chad. But it's a great question. But yeah, like I said, Chad, I think Blade Runner, Dark Tower, Leave Extraordinary Gentlemen, and Solo Star Wars Story, they would, I think, transition well to TV or a streaming service or a streaming series. They could be viewed as antiquated. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wizard Club was great. I don't think I've seen part 2 and 3. You're not missing much. I don't like either sequel. RoboCop 2 is not as bad as 3, but still not great. 3 is bad. 3 is awful. Really dislike that movie a lot. But moving on to Vanny's TV question. Buffy's first 5 seasons were absolutely fantastic and give the titular character a noble end. For some reason, the show was picked up for 2 more seasons and just wasn't the same. Spoiler for a 10-plus-year-old show. Buffy died at the end of season 5 and was resurrected in season 6. What other show had a season finale that was absolutely wonderful, but then got fucked up by the very next episode? This one, I struggled to think about this one, Vanny. It really did. This one, I was kind of stumped. The only thing I could possibly think of, because it wasn't really referenced in another season where this character, another series where this character is a main character in, and I started thinking about Superman the Animated Series, chat. Bruce Timm, which is, you know, that was the show that, you know, they did Batman, and then they did Superman, they did the new Batman Adventures and things. But I remember at the end of Superman, they did 3 seasons of that show, if I recall correctly. And the last arc of that show is when Darkseid takes over Superman's mind and uses him to lay waste to parts of the world. It's like quite horrifying. And he fights, you know, out of the mind control and things. But then the world, the end of that very last episode, where Superman is listening to the world, and everyone's saying they're fucking terrified of him. They're scared of him. And then the series ends. And it's like, whoa. And then then they did Batman Beyond after that. But eventually, and then Static Shock and shit, but eventually they finally did Justice League, and where that's not brought up at all. The fact that people are scared of Superman. The only time it's mentioned, maybe it was because of criticism, because they never really got to. Maybe they want to also do another season of Superman. Well, that would make sense, and to address why the world is so scared of him, and why he feels so guilty over the fact that he was manipulated and being mind controlled by Darkseid. But the only person who brings it up is Batman, who's because I think they encountered Darkseid for the first time in Justice League. And Superman is, you can tell he's very angry about this because, you know, he had that traumatic, you know, period of his life when he dealt with that character. And Batman's like, the reason why you're so over emotional about this, Clark, is that he had control of your mind. You're a little wind-up toy, and he made you do whatever he wanted across the planet. And that was the only time they ever brought that up. And it was weird that like no one else on the planet was terrified of Superman because of what he was doing. It was weird. And I could be misremembering, but that's the only thing where it's like, whoa, that's a really cool idea. The world is scared of Superman. You know, it's not his fault because he was being controlled. But they don't really deal with the ramifications of that at all. It's only the kind of the really super personal stuff Superman is and his hatred of Darkseid in Justice League. But outside of that, nothing. Jason, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Oh, what about the guy who betrays that scientist? The guy who betrays that scientist? In Cadmus? Oh, you mean the Dr. Milo? Oh, yeah, from Batman the Animated Series? Yeah, and then what? I think if that's who you're referring to. The guy who made Power Girl. Oh, shit. Oh, you know what? You're right, Osnick. Yes, the guy, the head of Star Labs, Dr. Emil. You're right. No, that's a good one. That's a good point because with that one, Dr. Emil said, yeah, I joined Cadmus because you're a fucking monster, Superman. We need a countermeasure against you, and that's when he made Power Girl. That's true. That's a good one. That's an unlimited. You're right. I forgot about that. I totally forgot about that. Okay, so they do deal with it. They deal with it. I think it was just more my whole thing is like, then how does the world perceive him? Because we have intimate, like Batman, and we have Dr. Emil, and I guess, Amanda Waller to a degree. But what's the world? I don't know. I'm just guessing, but maybe they didn't address people being scared of Superman because jail was during the post 9/11, didn't want to put Superman a threatening stature. Maybe, and they just did it in, I guess that makes sense. They just did it in more subtle ways, like with specific characters. Okay, that's fine. Oh, Vanny, shit. I told you, yeah, it's going. Game of Thrones, Jon Snow is dead. Psych. Yeah. Now, that's the one where they kill. I remember when they killed him. Season 5 was like that one season. Was like, it's whatever. But that's when they were trying to figure out. Because season 1, 2, 3, and 4 were so good. And season 5 was the one where like, it's very shaky ground, I remember. But I remember when they killed him at the end of the season, I was like, he's not dead. He's not like he's dead, but he's gonna come back. Like I never bought the first second. But you're right. That's one of those things. Like, oh, it's a shocking thing. And then I think what the next episode into season 6, episode 1, he was brought back. Yeah. Sayanark, the question is, what other show had a season finale that was absolutely wonderful, but then got fucked up in the very next episode? So like the next season, they completely just not retconned it or just made it not meaningful in any way. Game of Thrones, that's a good one. That's a good one. To be honest, Game of Thrones stopped being canon of the books by season 5. Yeah. Yeah. No, there's some good, but some good reasons, chat, in regards to the Superman thing. I had forgotten some of this. Like I said, it had been a long time. It had been a while. How's everyone doing? I'm doing very well today, Jason. How are you? How is your evening treating you? Yeah, even though I'm almost 26, I still live for the old days. Hollywood, where it's give me a blank check and let me go crazy. Yeah. Only certain people are able to do that. Yeah, people forget that stuff like REMAKE was. Yeah, it was. It was also satirizing over the top violence. True. Yeah. Person Man's good to see. How was this good? Discourse was very fun. Good, sir. Talk about our favorite movies of 2021. It was awesome. Westeros one that flew. Oh, shit. Yeah, definitely. I stopped watching after. I think I even finished season 2. I was like, okay, I'm done. I was so bored and disappointed. I heard season 3 is better, but I have not, because I want to know what the fuck's happening in season 3. I got to go back and watch season 2, and I just have no motivation to do so. Wow, they really spurned audiences with that, because I thought season 1 was so good. That was great. And I guess they're doing a season 4 now, maybe? I don't know. But yeah, I was so bored of season 2. I was like, oh, the philosophy, give me a goddamn break. It's too much. Chad. Didn't care for it. So, yeah, I'm right there with you, Sarah. I think that fell off. Definitely. But, yeah, you guys come up with some better ones than I did. I couldn't think of Superman, but I guess they did address it in other ways. I had forgotten. Good points, though. Good points, Jeff. Game question. I meant what I said regarding the Buffy the Vampire Slayer game. The story fit nicely in the overall show's lore. The actors, minus Sarah Michelle Gellar, reprised their roles for the game, and the comment was shockingly amazing. There were a couple of nice touches in the game, like vampires don't die until they're staked in the heart, and Buffy can't die unless a vampire bites her when she's at 0 health. Buffy will also instantly die if she falls in water, since she initially died in the first season via drowning. The drowning thing in particular was initially annoying until I realized that it was a reference. I mean, that was the thing, too. Like, anytime there's water in a video game, like back in the day, there was that period of time, water meant death. Like the original Assassin's Creed and all the old GTA games, like Vice City and GTA 3. I remember that always stood out to me. It's like, water is death. No. If it's above the knees, chat, that's death right there. Drowning thing in particular was initially annoying until I realized that it was a reference. What other game comes to mind with regards to subtle homages to a source material? You know, there was one that I'd forgotten about because I was just thinking, because it's like it comes out of fucking nowhere. But I did a streaming series of Luigi's Mansion 3. I like Luigi's Mansion a lot. It's very, very fun series. Love the original. I don't know if I even played the second one, but I love the original one back in the day on the GameCube. That was a GameCube game. On the GameCube, chat, one of the wonderful titles of that console. And I think the sequel was like on a DS or something. At that point, I was out of handhelds pretty much. But then I played Luigi. I was super excited for Luigi's Mansion 3, and I played it the year that came out. It was like 2018, 2019 or something. It was so much fun. And it's during the last level, which I think it's like level 15, literal level 15 of the mansion, of the hotel that you're in. And you're cleaning out all the ghosts and stuff. And you exit out of the elevator, and they do, I'm like, I couldn't even believe it was happening. But they reference the movie Old Boy. So remember when that came? So if you don't know, the movie Old Boy, chat, it's about this kind of piece of shit schlubby guy who has made all these wrong decisions in his life, and he's a shitty father, he's a shitty employee, etc., etc. Eventually, he's kidnapped and by this organization, and he's put into this hotel room where he lives there for like 15 years or something. He lives there like a very long time. And eventually, all he has is this television to let him know what's going on in the world, and these dumplings he eats every day. And basically, he trains himself using the TV to become like a badass. There's other things in regards to that movie, but there is this iconic action sequence when it's him going back to the hotel, and it's funny, the hotel just like Luigi's Mansion, and he's exiting, and it's this long hallway where we see all these guys with these various blunt instruments, wrenches and 2x4s and crowbars and hammers and stuff. And it's our main character who has a hammer. And it's just this long shot of you watching this guy go down this hallway, just bashing all these guys with hammer and fighting them, basically. It's an iconic action scene. Luigi's Mansion 3 does the same thing, where Luigi, he exits the elevator, looks over, and it pans, and we see this all these ghosts with blunt instruments, with wrenches and plungers and things. And then you go down that hallway like Luigi, sucking up and beating up all these ghosts. And it's just so fucking weird that it's like, I get it, Nintendo Japanese, but even then, Old Boy's a South Korean movie. I guess it's just Asian cinema in general. You want to put under one umbrella. But it was a very weird reference to make. And always a very weird homage. And always stood out to me. It's like, wow, in an E for Everyone Nintendo game. I think it was just the case, like, the developer just clearly, like, loved, or those people just loved Old Boy. And like, let's put this in the game, but we won't even let the publisher know what we're actually referencing. But I thought it was very funny. I thought that was pretty good. I'm not even a big Old Boy fan, but that one always stood out to me, chap. That's like if Kirby had an homage to Taxi Driver, very much so. This is Kirby just fucking has a mohawk, and he goes to that shitty motel and just starts killing all the pimps and drug addicts there, trying to rescue, like, Princess Peach, who is, like, a whore. That's like what it would be, chap. It's fucking nice. Old Boy, like, one of the favorite movies, Old Boy. Yeah, yes, that movie. Oh, I love it. Yeah, I never played the second Luigi's Mansion. Was it called Dark Mansion or something? I never played that one. I played the original one. The GameCube days, yes. Same with Soul Reaver and Blood Omen and Legacy Kane. People have been bringing up Legacy Kane on my channel for many a year, and apparently I gotta fucking play those games. Reference to old school Van Helsing. Of course. Oh my god, I hated that in the GTA games. Saying, yeah, of course, man, because just water, it's like, it's innocent. It's like, no, dead. You dead. You drowned. San Andreas introduced swimming. That's right. Because I remember in Vice City, because it's 80s Miami, Florida and everything, and there's water everywhere. It's like, no, if you go in the water, you're fucked. I was like, oh my god. They should have introduced swimming in Vice City, but they never did. I don't mind the world building, but you could have made a limited series by ending with a dinner. Yeah, that would, Westworld should have been a limited series. Should have been a mini-series. Agreed. Well, Texture of Kirby, that would be a very violent Kirby game. That's what Luigi's Mansion 3 was. Whoever the tax driver's get up is just going to be my. That's what I need to see fan art, chat. If anyone wants to do fan art of that, I would very much appreciate that. Or Luigi with that fucking hammer and the vacuum cleaner in the style of Old Boy. That'd be great. But that is, what about you guys? Because I'm sure that there's other video games that are paying, like, and I thought like homage, not just like a reference, because even I was like, okay, let me think about this. Is there any other like homages, like a sequence in a game? Because there's a lot of references in video games, like the Fallout, the Bethesda Softworks. They constantly reference movies and other games within their games. Fallout New Vegas has it where you can find a fridge and Indiana Jones is inside. It's a skeleton with his hat. Like, stuff like that. But I'm thinking, like, specifically, like, there's an homage. Like, there's a sequence of this game which is like, that is straight from this movie or this TV show or this book or comic book. And I was just thinking about fan art that shit. Yeah, it's got fun there on Discord. Thank you. I would love it. But is there anything that you guys can think of? There's a linked all in Mario RPG Legend of the Seventh Star. There is, they go back and forth. I think in one of the Link games, there is, maybe it's an Ocarina of Time. There's a picture of Mario from Mario 64, like the cover of the game. Like if you look, I think it's like in a museum or something. And if you, I'm trying to remember, it's been 20 years since I played that game, if not more. And you see this picture of, it's like through a window. You gotta look through a window, and you see this big portrait of Mario there, and he has the cap on with the wings. I remember that. Shrek Juice, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. We're just talking about video game homages or homages in video games, like for movies or TV shows. Well, there's Deadly Premonition, which the creator Hidetaka Swery, that it was straight up homage. Oh, definitely Twin Peaks. No, that's a good one. That's a good one. Very much aesthetically, that is totally Twin Peaks. Omega Tree, good to have you here. Saints 4 had the Leilao. It's a great one. Why didn't I'm the John Carpenter guy? I can't believe I didn't think about the yes, where they actually have Keith David and Roddy Piper come back. I mean, Keith David was already part of the Saints Row series, doing lines, either playing Jules or playing himself as Keith David. But they also brought Roddy Piper back for that They Live section. I can't believe that's a great one. That's a great one, Omega Tree. Very nice, very nice. Vanispheres, Final Fantasy 14, and Walker legit has a Metal Gear Solid. Oh shit, really? Is it like the tanker mission from 2? King Onifal 2 had a great segment homaging Holy Grail's Man-Eater. Oh, that's right. That's another good one. That's a nice one. Night Brownie, what? Okay, actually, it was the tanker sequence. I just thought the tanker one is one of the most iconic missions in the Crosshair. I just thought of that one. That's funny. Very nice. Yeah, no, Saints Row definitely has a lot of those references, and 4 has that They Live section. That's a great section. I love that they brought back fucking Roddy Piper for that. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Good for him. Good for him, Jeff. I've done a review. I've done a review for They Live, by the way. That is on my YouTube channel right now, Class in a Glass. Go ahead and check that out. Ooh. But now, chat, we have the last, this is the second last, the penultimate question from Vanispheres, chat. Reverend question. When I worked at GameStop, my condolences, I used to beg people to give this game a shot, even if they weren't fans of the source material. However, most customers would pass on it since it was a TV show tie-in putting in less than reputable company. Growing up, was there ever a game that you used to push to your friends, but they wouldn't listen? Every JRPG ever I played. No, they're like, JRPGs? No, ew. Absolutely not. No, I remember even when Final Fantasy VII came out, and that is the gateway JRPG for so many people in the West. Even when that game came out, I was playing Final Fantasy, I was playing Wild Arms, and Final Fantasy Tactics and other JRPGs. Hell, even Lost Odyssey back in the day when Xbox tried to appeal to JRPG fans and the Japanese audience. People were just like, no, I don't want that stuff. It's dumb. It's lame. I don't like it. All the guys look like girls or whatever. I'm not into that. And I was like, oh man, but there's so much cool lore and storytelling and mechanics. Like, no, I don't like it. So yeah, JRPGs and turn-based stuff, mostly turn-based combat in games. They were always opposed to shit like that. And it was a goddamn shame because, I was the guy. I was alone with my love of certain JRPGs. Like all my friends, like at the time, it was the N64 generation. It was, it's funny because they played Nintendo games, which are Japanese made games, but it was stuff like Super Smash Bros. Or Gold, like Rare, a lot of Rare games too. And they were my friends at the time, like early when I started to really get into video games. It was all the Rare stuff on the N64, so GoldenEye and Banjo-Kazooie, and then when we got into like the other consoles, when we started getting to the platformers like on the PlayStation stuff, it was Ratchet and Clank and Sly Cooper and things. And by the time we got to 360, it was all shooters, third person and first-person shooters. So JRPGs were always neglected. The only one that they did play was Pokemon, which is a JRPG, technically. It's baby's first JRPG, or, role-playing game in general. But they made an exception. Well, that's Pokemon. That's different. Pokemon's cool. But yeah, they were just opposed to it. They didn't like the aesthetics of JRPG. The young protagonist with the spiky hair and very effeminate look. They were just like, no way. You don't like that. But I didn't mind that, chap. I didn't mind that. Any Persona games? I'm going to be playing some Persona games on stream probably this year. I'll be checking out Persona 5. Nerd! Yeah, very much so. They were like that with me. I was like, oh, I like it. And I was like, no, you. That's what they would say, I think, to me. They were very mean. Yo, you're pulling out some fantastic stuff. Wild Arms, you know, I think Wild Arms is, it's beloved in the JRPG community. But I feel like Wild Arms got overshadowed by something like Final Fantasy VII, you know, which I want to say they came out around the same time. Maybe Final Fantasy VII came out first and then Wild Arms did. But I felt like that was just dominating. Or maybe even Kingdom Hearts. Wild Arms, I just liked the combined, it was a Wild West JRPG, which is really unique. I want to play that someday on stream. You know, they've made 5 of them, I want to say? Which I've never even played 5. I think I played up to 3. But I love to play the original one, Chad. Great fucking opening, too, the animated opening. Beautiful game. Beautiful game. PHI JRPG grows. You're so boring, so small graphically. That's what they probably said. I like them. Oh, JPEG. JT Grimm, good to see you here. JT, hope you're doing well. Good old baby's first dogfight. Goddamn right, cockfighting game. Animal Slavery, the game. It was fun, chat. Good times. I'll be playing some of those animal slavery games this year. I'm going to be doing some OG Pokemon games, chat. Some Pokemon randomizers, some Nuzlocke. Ooh-wee, I'm excited. It'll be fun. I've only played on stream. I've only played Let's Go Pikachu, which is the remake of Yellow, which actually was quite fun. That is on my YouTube channel right now. Class in the Glass. Check it out. I can see that, but it's not something that should be. Yeah, for a lot of those people, it just was. It just was for them. But I like him. I used to tell my friends to play Armed and Dangerous for their original Xbox. Never played that. They all somehow failed every class they should. Chris, what are you talking about? Omega Tree Chris, do you ever play Parasite Eve or Xeno? No, but I want to. I think those would be fun. Waiting for Xenogears and Dragon Quest to get mentioned next. I don't think I've ever played a Dragon Quest game, or if I did, I can't quite remember. Yeah. Animal Slavery games, those are fun. Those Animal Slavery games are fun, though. Gotta admit that. A Nuzlocke stream is coming. I think so. I think I'm gonna do that. I want to do Nuzlocke or Randomizer. So for those don't know, Nuzlocke is a Pokemon. It's a mode in Pokemon emulators you can play where if your Pokemon faints, they're dead forever. They're fucked, and so you lose them. So it's basically Pokemon on hard mode. And so like the last thing you want is your Pokemon to faint. Whereas Pokemon Randomizer is you can start the game off and you could find a Zapdos in Viridian Forest or something. And their moveset wouldn't even be electric moves. It could be like all these other random moves. It can be a Zapdos that knows, a Rock Slide or Razor Leaf or some shit. And I feel like that would be really fun for a streaming series. And all the gyms and trainers have different Pokemon too. They're not all named the same. Like Brock is now called Emily. It's like, this is weird. And so I feel like that would be really fun for a streaming series to do some OG Pokemon randomizers or do a Nuzlocke run. Knowing when Chrono Cross for me, getting people to play that game was impossible. Vanny bought that for me recently. Can't wait to play it. Last Dragon Quest game is pretty fun. I know a lot of people, that was a lot of people's best of list the year that came out. Knowing Women is so good, not as good as Trigger, but still. I want to play. I'm going to definitely play Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross. I think that'll be fun. Melody says only play Dragon Quest 11, but that was fun. Oh, Jay, we got some people. Spectre Saunders, thank you so much for the 100 biddies. I hope you're enjoying yourself. Pleasure to have you here. Pikachu can die forever. It'll be messed up, champ. Yo, Parasite Eve and Chrono Trigger would be great for a stream. Hope you can. Yes, no, I will. This year, chat, I'm going to be doing a lot of like JRPGs and just Japanese games in general. You're gonna see a wide variety. I mean, I just completed Deathloop. I'm gonna be jumping into Death's Door, which is very much a Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past-esque game, which should be fun. And then probably Far Cry 6 and stuff. But no, I'm gonna definitely diversify. I'm gonna play some Yakuza games this year. It's gonna be fun. Got a lot of variety for you. Man, I got you Obscure and Obscure 2. The Aftermath. I didn't even play those. Wow. JT, Pokemon Dark Souls. But yes, Pokemon Dark Souls, good to say it. Pretty much, folks. But really lets you put more value into Pokemon that survive the longest. Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be really, really cool. Yeah, Death's Door, which Vanny also gifted to me. So thank you, sir. I'm very excited to play that. I'll be starting that on Monday. That'll be great. Nice little palate cleanser after Deathloop. Oh, the first-person shooting shenanigans. Telltale's The Walking Dead would be an amazing watch, but I've done that. Those are all on my YouTube channel. I've done those years ago, but I'll probably replay those someday. Now it's been enough time in between. I think that could be very, very fun. But this is a great question, though, Vanny. An excellent, excellent question. But I think it just led into this nice little tangent, if you will, chat. But yeah, I'm going to, in terms of my gameplay streams, they're going to be very diverse and very fun. I also want to do some more stuff for multiplayer shenanigans. I know we've been playing like a lot of Jackbox and Among Us, and we've delved into like Halo and Back 4 Blood most recently. But I've also wanted to do some stuff in Gary's mod with you guys. And play stuff like Prop Hunt. I think that'd be really fun, where it's basically like we pretend to be an animated object while someone hunts you on a map, like a Half-Life map or something. I think that would be pretty fun to play. And it's inexpensive, too. It's like, I think, like Gary's mod was like $5, if that. And it's always on sale. So we'll definitely do that. Mario Kart, no, we can do it. No, we'll definitely do, knowing when we'll definitely do some Mario Kart streams, Mario Kart and Super Smash Bros. These are something that are that is on the docket. No doubt about it. I was also write your Nightmare on Elm Street script. I know. Both of them, right? Both of them. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, yeah, no, I have a lot of ideas, chat. I definitely want to diversify the single-player shenanigans and multiplayer. And, of course, we'll still play Among Us and Jackbox things because people just love those games. But now, chat, we're moving on to the next question. Gary's mod is currently $10, and it's usually on sale like every other month or week or something. I think I bought it was like $2 or something. So we can do that. We'll make it work, Joe. We'll make it work. But Gary's mod is that's a great one because it's just the variety of games you can have. And now I believe this is Vanny's last question. Voice acting question, chat. As I mentioned, most of the cast of Buffy reprised their role in the game, which helped the overall presentation tremendously. Sometimes that isn't the case. One example of really bad voice acting and hindered your overall gameplay experience. I think it was like a game I occasionally reference on my streams. And anytime like I hear a character that's named Jason or the name Jason is spoken, I always go, Jason! And you know that game's, you know exactly where that quote's from, chat, if you played the game. Or maybe if you haven't, just seen clips and compilations online. Heavy Rain. The way that, the thing is, it's a Quantic Dream game. And a lot of those voice actors, that game's like, it's kind of choose your own adventure type of thing. Similar to Telltale, except more cinematic. And it's about this kidnapping of this father's son, or the death of his son, the kidnapping of his other surviving son, and all these characters that are connected to it, whatever. But a lot of those voice actors they're not native English speakers, and so throughout the game, you'll have them talking, and it's like, that's not how you would say that at all. And for whatever reason, the guy who, I forget the main character of the game, the father character, he has these two sons, and the way he says their names constantly, like, Jason, or Sean! It's like it's just on a loop sometimes. Like, you'll literally be, like, your son will be missing, and you'll constantly have to press the X button to say their name. And it's just on a loop, and it's not changed at all. Like, the cadence isn't different, and it's, oh, God. It's so unintentionally funny. It's meant to be dramatic. It's like you are in the role of a parent, and the worst thing that could ever happen to a parent is if your child's in danger, if they're missing. It would destroy your soul. And you have this guy going, Jason! Sean! It doesn't work. It feels so robotic. And a game that's meant to be, about the human experience, it's so inauthentic. And just there's like no semblance of reality there. If anything, it makes me like, I'm glad that kid's gone or kidnapped or dead. Chris, will you find your soulmate? I don't know, man. Someday, we'll see. But I'll definitely I have to do a Heavy Rain stream one day. Kingdom Hearts. Oh yeah, Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts has all that shit. Hell, some Final Fantasies have that. Fuck Titus and his laughing is weird. But Heavy Rain has always stood out to me, chat. Another game, you probably don't remember it, but back in the Xbox 360 generation, PS3 generation, it was like an early launch title, I want to say. And it was not a JRPG, but it was an RPG, a Western RPG called Two Worlds. And it was awful. Where they just, apparently, they wanted to make this, epic scale fantasy RPG. But they had to cut a lot of corners, including, I guess, on the voice acting, where they had to take takes where the voice actors just kind of stumble over their dialogue and go, and it sounds so awkward. So Two Worlds is definitely on that list. And another one, but it's like, I like this game because the voice acting, the voice acting is so bad that it's endearing. And that's Resident Evil Code Veronica. And that's represented in the character of the Ashford twins, particularly the male Ashford. His voice acting is so over the goddamn top. I gotta find that clip. Of the male Ashford, which they reference in Resident Evil 1 and shit. Let me share Ashford, because his introduction is ridiculous. Like his little laugh. Resident Evil Code Veronica. Ashford. No, what the fuck was his name? Oh, Alfred Ashford. Here it is. Alfred, chat. This fucking guy. His dialogue is atrocious. There's Nia Brownie's little message. Let me get this up. You guys got to I have to play Code Veronica one day. Because I have not. And some of those other original Resident Evil games. Let me get this all set up for you here. Because you have to hear this shit. You think, oh, video game dialogue's bad. Like nowadays? Back in the day? Oofa. Alright, let's play this. Get past this amp. DJ Liberty, chat. Here it is.
Redfield! How dare you interfere with my operation?
What are you talking about?
You let yourself be captured so you could lead your people to this base.
I have no idea what you're babbling about.
You don't fool me. I am Alfred Ashford, commander of this base.
Are you?
Oh? You must be one of Umbrella's lower level officers if you're in command of a backwater base like this one.
How dare you!
How dare!
The Ashford family is among the world's first and finest.
Of course.
My grandfather is one of the original founders of Umbrella Inc.
Okay.
Now tell me, why have you attacked this installation?
Attacked?
Attacked?
Shortly after you arrived, my base was attacked. You must have informed your people of its location.
I still don't follow you. I really don't know anything about that.
Goddamn.
Unacceptable!
Unacceptable!
How
Unacceptable!
can you deny it? My base has been destroyed.
Yeah.
And thanks to you, the experimental T-virus was released, creating countless zombies and monsters. Tell me, who do you work
Mr. Scott
for?
Kennedy.
Who sent you?
Ooh.
Have it your way, then. You're just a rat in a cage anyway.
Does he do the laugh here?
I'll be sure to keep you
I think he does.
entertained before I dispose of you.
There we go. I both love and hate that. I both love and hate that, chat. That is some classic RE voice acting, chat. I mean, the Resident Evil series is not known for it's well known for its voice acting. It's not looked upon with much kindness, but that always stood out for me. The guy who plays Alfred Ashford. It's like, geez, and the person who voices Claire there. Awful, awful, awful. It's like James from Pokemon lost. Oh yeah, it does kind of sound like James from Pokemon. I totally see that. Yeah. So when Capcom heard that, went good enough, or good writing. True, writing's also quite bad. No doubt about it. So that one has always stood the test of time, being an example of atrocious video game voice acting. What do you say about me not being a valuable member of the group? I just said that you could be like the jester in the zombie apocalypse, Naya. You could do that. And you can use your military skills too, I assume. It's a classic mustache twirling power grab. And yeah, very much so. Just his uniform. He's carrying around that rifle around his home. It's so weird. He is such an over-the-top megalomaniac villain. I hate it here. No. You like it here. Oh, my God. How's you guys saying? Sounds like the asparagus from VeggieTales. Maybe it's the same guy. Might be the same voice actor. Oh, lordy. Old school Resident Evil. The master of unlocking. Oh, I know. You are almost a Jill sandwich. Barry! I reference Barry all the time. Oh, my God. Firewolf, good to see you, Firewolf. Hope you're doing well. Night Running, after all, it is yours. It is her stream. It is her stream, chap. I am merely a clown, a jester on Nia Brownie's show. It's true. It's true. Oh. But now, chat. So, yeah, just to reiterate, Heavy Rain, Two Worlds, Resident Evil, Code Veronica, some of the absolute worst. Well, you know, I'm going to show you Two Worlds. So I'm going to give you guys, I'm going to tell you what, because you might be unfamiliar with Two Worlds, chat. I fucking remember Two Worlds. Good to have you here, Firewolf. Welcome. I'm going to give you Two Worlds has, this is an actual clip. It's 29,000 views. Two Worlds has the best voice acting. I'm going to show you guys this. I remember this game. I remember being excited for this game being so, I should have put, I constantly forget this game happened. I was like, what was a game that you were excited for that disappointed by? Two Worlds.
How often do you think about your poop?
Who are you? All the time.
Think about their poop a lot.
I'm thinking about my poop right now.
Did you know that every time that you pay a
chat, are you thinking about your poop?
To tell you something
I'm thinking about my
health?
poop.
What?
Here.
There it is.
The village elder sent me. He wanted me to bring you the payment should you not return to the village.
And why should I not go back there, pray?
Pray.
Some people came to Cormoran when you left. They asked for you.
People. Tell me more. Swiftly now.
Warriors. Hard ones. Not very friendly. One of them stayed to await your return. Here.
Warriors. Yeah, there you go. Two Worlds. I remember that. This is like one of the first quests you do in the game. God, this was early Xbox. That's like an early PS3, Xbox 360 game. Oh, it's like it was done in the garage yet, too. The quality's also not that great. What's wrong with their faces? That's how they are in this world, Chris Ayers. Oh, Master Andromeda. Oh, yeah. That's my face is tired. That's an example of some bad voice acting, modern day voice acting. That's a good one. Warriors. Oh, my Lord. Man, yeah, Andromeda. That's a good one, Zodi. Nailed it. How far we've come indeed, Firewolf. It's like, people say video games are bad. Look, you could be Two Worlds. You could be Two Worlds, chap. Thank God you're not. Thank God we're not. Oh, my Lord. But now, I believe, now is that Vanny's? That is Vanny's last question. Heavy Rain, chat, Two Worlds, Resident Evil, Code Veronica, I think, are great examples of some of the worst voice act you can find in a video game and from different eras, which I think is cool. Again, Vanny, thank you so much for your questions. I love the theme this week. Very good. I remember the Buffy the Vampire Slayer video. Maybe I'll play that one day on stream. I remember that. I remember seeing it like a Blockbuster back in the day, like for the OG Xbox, and remember like, it's a Buffy the Vampire Slayer game? Never played it because I was like, oh, it's based on a TV show. Of course it's bad. It's like, hear that you say it's good. Might have to check that out. Someday. I think that'd be fun. But now, chat, we're gonna move on to Thunder Lee Graves' question, chat. Thank you, Thunder Lee, for being a subscriber. As 2022 rolls along, a lot of horror properties are starting to make their way over to video games. This year, we have Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the Evil Dead game. Over on Dead by Daylight, we have had Freddy, Leatherface, Saw, Jigsaw, Ghostface, Michael Myers, Pinhead, and soon Sadako from the Japanese horror series Ringu. A couple years ago, we've had Friday the 13th. My question is, what horror movie do you want to see have their own game? What developer do you want to tackle that game? What type of game do you want it to be? So many questions. Well, I thought of several that I thought would be pretty fun. One that came to mind immediately was Cube, chap, where, you know, if you don't know the premise of Cube, came out like in the, I want to say the late 90s, and it focuses on these people who are placed in these giant cube-esque rooms, which are filled with deadly traps, chap. Almost felt like the, you know, I wonder if James Wan might have been inspired for Saw, but it kind of has like the sci-fi, you know, aesthetic to it. You don't know if you're going to trust the persons that you're with as you're going from cube to cube, which are filled with all sorts of different traps. Could be filled with acid, could be ones that where you're sucked out, other ones where it can, launch a net with razor wire that can turn you into literal cubes, like all sorts of things. And I think, like, I would love to play a cube game, and it could be co-op. I think it would be really cool to play a cube co-op game made by either Valve, who, of course, famously made the Portal series, Chad, Half-Life and, Left 4 Dead 2. I think they would do a really good job at that. Or I would love it if Joseph Fares and his company, I believe Hazelight, if they made a cube game, Chad. He did, like, It Takes Two and Brothers and oh, God. Oh, what's the other game that he made? The one what's about the Prison Break game. Oh, shit. Not Among Us. I'm blanking, Chad. I'm blanking. Well, that game as well. I think that would be amazing if either of those developers made a cube game. I think that would be so much. A Way Out. Thank you so much. I was like, not Among Us. I'm trying to think. A Way Out. Thank you, KC. Thank you, Kim89. I think they would kill it because, imagine, if Vanny or myself played a cube game, kind of how we did, like, It Takes Two, and we're trying not to kill each other. We have to survive these horrifying, gruesome traps, Chad, going from one cube to the other. I think that'd be really cool. So that's a big one for me. Another one that came to mind, Chad, I think, kind of the dark age of modern horror, which is in the 2000s. Had a lot of, stuff like Saw, or Hostel, which I didn't care for. A lot of supernatural horror stuff. It was like, that was boring. But there were some notable films, Chad, that went against the grain at the time. And one of those is a creature feature called The Descent, which is about these spelunkers, this all group of women spelunkers who I think are like celebrating something, and they're going to this unexplored caves where they encounter these horrific blind bat people, and they have to survive them. They're trying to eat them and everything. And I think it would be really cool if developer End Night, who is responsible for the Forest survival game, if they made something like The Descent, where you have a character, you start off with however many resources that you get, it's random each time, and you have to make your way through a cave system. Maybe it's co-op as well, maybe it's multiplayer, and you'll have to survive. But the cave system, the cavern, changes each and every single time, so it's always new. So you can't just take the same path. And the only way you can survive, the only way that you would win is if one of your teammates survives and gets to the other end of the cavern or the cave system. I think that would be awesome. So get End Night on that game, Chad. Viper Fox, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Were the women all named Viper Wolf? Also, hi, maybe. Good to have you here. Just going over questions for Class in the Glass cast right now. Thunder Lee has asked me one where it's like, what horror property should be adapted into a game, and who should make it, and what should the premise of the game be? Talked about how I would love to see Cube be made by Valve or Joseph Fares as Hazelight, and The Descent made by End Night with the makers of The Forest. But I do have a couple other games too. So I know, chat, that Evil Dead, they're getting that kind of I guess that asymmetrical multiplayer game in the same style, something like Dead by Daylight or Friday the 13th or Predator. But I would have loved it if Evil Dead, if we got like a first-person shooter Evil Dead made by id or Machine Games, where id, of course, famously is the maker of Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. And Machine Games are the makers of the more recent Wolfenstein games. I would love it if either of them would make a first-person shooter series based on the Evil Dead property, chat, where you have the chainsaw hand, you have the boom shot, you have all these other weapons, from shotguns to assault rifles, even more supernatural stuff, using the Kandarian dagger. I would love that for an Evil Dead game. Either of those developers, I think, would do a terrific job. And the last one I could think of, chat, is a Hannibal cooking simulator, chat. I want a Hannibal Lecter cooking simulator made by the people of Team 17, who are best known for Overcooked, chat. I want them to make cannibalism cute. That's how you do it. That's the tagline. Make cannibalism cute. Have you guys ever watched Hannibal? Like you guys have seen, like Silence of the Lambs and, Hannibal and all those. But the Hannibal TV series, I'm sorry, but anytime Mads Mikkelsen is making food on that show, and yes, it's made of human body parts and human meat and shit, but it's like the most delicious thing ever. he makes cannibalism so cool. It's like, okay, I kind of, you know, if he's doing it, then I'm like, all right, I can kind of get on board, chat. He makes cannibalism delicious. And I think with the people of Overcooked, but that game is all about cooperation. You play these little chubby, you know, dough chefs, and you're going around an area, and you're chopping up onions, and you're taking, you know, vegetables, and you're taking, you know, meat and stuff, and you're making a nice little dish, and you're serving it. But let's do that, except cannibalism. Let's add some cannibalism, where you gotta take a human body. Maybe they're struggling, maybe they're trying to get out because they're confused because they're covered in, you know, in Crisco and olive oil. But you gotta, like, you know, you gotta disembowel. Let's do that. Let's just do that, chat. I think that'd be fun. So definitely, I want a Hannibal cooking simulator. Let's make cannibalism cute. That's the tagline. Remind me to never come to your place for dinner. I mean, listen, man. Have you ever seen Hannibal? Look at, I can't show it on here because I'm going to get hit with the copyright, but I really encourage you guys to look at the cooking compilations from the Hannibal TV series. It is delicious. I'm sorry. And even though it's like, yeah, that's all human organs and meat and shit, it's like, that still looks fucking good. He literally serves, I love there's this one scene of this guy who he's captured, and he basically cuts his leg off, and he makes this, it's like, he makes clay roasted thigh, and he literally serves the guy his own thigh, and he's like, I'm delicious. He literally says, like, it's just so good. It's amazing. Oh, Lord. With Anthony Hopkins voicing him, you can do that. You can do that. You can have Anthony Hopkins voice him, or like he could be like the narrator of the game. It could be that, or Mads Mikkelsen. Either I would prefer. If you see Mads Mikkelsen, to give him your business card. Oh, I know. Oh, don't do that. Yeah, it's part of his roulette wheel of potential food. Oh, I bet Armie Hammer was watching this show. Oh, he definitely has. He gets off to that. He's like, yes, they know what I'm about. Armie Hammer, I'm hungry now. Armie Hammer would subscribe to my channel right now, chat. We can make it work. Mads Mikkelsen could cannibalize me. He's so hot. He's so hot, chat. Ooh-wee. See, I think Hannibal dating friendship game would be cool. That'd be cool. Yeah, because that's what that whole show is about. It's either Hannibal eating people or making some wonderful food, or him lusting after Will Graham. The two of them just like, can you two just fuck already, for the love of God? And then eat some human food, like, you know, literal human food. Yes. Scream is a mystery solving thriller while trying not to get killed. Ooh, probably that'd be fun. That'd be a really fun game. I would like to see that. Yeah, very nice. No, nice. Fucking eat. Just fucking eat. That's what they do on that show. Everyone's fucking each other, or they're eating each other, or sometimes doing both. Sometimes doing both. Army, finally a show for me. Oh, my Lord. And it's about the friends made along the way. Definitely. No doubt about it. Ray Liotta again. It's been 3 nights already. Oh, I know. Makes Ray Liotta eat his own brain. It's that, but much more delicious looking and cute, chap. But you can have special quests where you gotta hunt down like Clarice Starling or Will Graham or Ray Liotta, and you gotta make them into food and stuff. We can have Clarice Starling pot pie. How about that? That sounds delicious, chat. They should go ahead and do that. But those are mine, chat. Those are my games. Cube made by Valve, The Descent made by End Night, Evil Dead made by id or Machine Games, and a Hannibal cooking simulator made by the people of Overcooked, Team 17. They can do it, chat. They can make it work. They can make it work. I think that'd be fun. Ooh-wee. Hostile vs. Silence of the Lambs. Oh, no. No, God, no. Not Hostile, please. No. Sweet Todd Hannibal Lecter Hour. Ooh, I love that. Making those meat pies, chat. Those meat pies. And now, thank you, Thunder Lee, for your question. Appreciate that. Thank you for being a subscriber on the Patreon. And now, chat, we're at our last question of the evening. And this comes from Thomas Leaf Ace Rock, and it's regards to Rambo. He's thinking about Rambo. Rambo began as a critical story about America's abandonment of veterans and effects of PTSD, and turned into a jingoistic pop culture propaganda piece. Definitely Rambo 2, where literally that's the first movie's about, you know, it's what the book's about. I mean, the author famously said, like, yeah, they adapted my book, but then they took my character and turned him into something that he's absolutely not. where Rambo is a veteran of the Vietnam War. He comes home and he's mistreated, and that's what the premise of the first movie is. He's mistreated to the point where he breaks, and he's being hunted by this piece of shit police department and Brian Dennehy, and they make his life miserable, Chad, and he leads a one-man war against this small town until he breaks down. And then the sequels are him trying to say, like, literal, he goes back to Vietnam and he wins the Vietnam War. And then he goes to Afghanistan and he teams up with Mujahideen, who later became the Taliban, to fight the Soviets. And then we had the fourth Rambo movie, which is probably the best one since the original, even though I have some issues with that aesthetically. And then the fifth one is him fighting against the entirety of the Mexican cartel. In any case, the character was, he was adapted in the sequels in not the best way. And I totally agree with that. But the question is, what is a character or franchise that you loved or respected only to see it dismantled into a gross and cringeworthy parody of itself? For me, it is America itself. There's a couple I've talked about before. Slayer, good to see you, Slayer. I hope you're doing very well. Pleasure to have you here. Just talking about a franchise or a character or property that's been dismantled into a gross, cringeworthy parody abomination meat mountain. That's what we're doing. You're thinking of the funniest shit, did my question not? Oh, did it not? Oh, you know what? Oh, did you just submit it? Oh, you submitted an hour ago. Okay, I will read this I'll read this after Ace Rock. I'll check to see if I got any other questions in the last hour. So if that is indeed the case, yes, I got the question. I received it. I see it right there. Okay, cool. I'll answer your question after Ace Rock. So this is not the last question of the evening, chat. Not the last question at all. You know what, Duma? It's so funny that you said Die Hard's McClane might be too easy. That is one of the first of my answers. Bruce Willis's John McClane. What made the original Die Hard such a great film and kind of revolutionary for its time is that it really introduced us, I think, for the first time, at least the mass audiences, the idea of the everyman action hero. This guy he's not the prettiest person. He's not in the greatest of shape. You might even say he's not the most competent, but he tries his best, and he gets his ass kicked throughout that movie. But that's what makes him so endearing, is that he is so realistic and so grounded. It's like, what would you do in this situation? You can kind of relate. A lot of people could relate to John McClane as this schlubby New York detective who is not the smartest or the bravest or, the most competent, but he gets the job done. And he's blown to shit by the end of the movie, to the point where he's literally crawling on the floor, dragging his own bloodied feet because he took his shoes off and forgot to put them back on because it's in the middle of a terrorist attack. Because anyone would, you'd forget to do that because you're panicking, you don't know what to do. That movie's so important, and as we got sequel after sequel after sequel, even though I like Die Hard 3, but sequel after sequel after sequel, the stakes started to increase. And he became more powerful to the point where he was a superhero by Die Hard 4. When he was literally jumping off of F-16s and, running away from multiple explosions, going through plate glass window after plate glass window in 5, jumping off and making superhero landings. Like, he became a parody of himself. Which is frustrating because that character started off so grounded, but they just didn't know what to do with him anymore. So they just made him like every typical action hero, every generic action hero that we've seen for 40, 50 years. It's a goddamn shame. But no, the Die Hard series is an example of that, where it's like, wow, you start off something really cool and original and fun with a great character, and then the last movie we fucking hate him. He's not the the charming and yet incredibly flawed, police detective that we saw in the original movie. He's just this loud, ignorant, nearly immortal brute by the time we get to 5. Rambo, I think it's the same case. Rambo, I mean, exactly. That's as Thomas, which is what this question is based on. Rambo, he started out this way and he became what he is now, which is just this, a superhero, But I had a couple other ones, chap, other franchises, if you will. And one that I've talked about before, but that's Indiana Jones. And I love the original trilogy, particularly Raiders and Last Crusade. And I loved Temple of Doom, even though it is flawed, has some issues, and it was a little racist, and has some annoying characters in it. But I think Harrison Ford does a great job. I like the aesthetic of the movie, and I think Short Round was a great character. That's his son, Jay. That's his son. But by the time we get to Crystal Skull, it was almost like Steven Spielberg forgot what made Indiana Jones so much fun, and he forgot the aesthetics of his original movies. As I've said before, Chad, the thing that takes me out of it, it's just Spielberg looked at those films and, like the practical effects, how grounded it was. Yes, it was supernatural and fantastical, and, they had crazy stunts and things. But they all had a similar aesthetic in each one. They all was like, oh yeah, I could totally see where this leads to this, leads to that, leads to that. But when we get to Crystal Skull, it doesn't feel like that movie's related to those original movies at all. Like the rampant use of CGI and how there's so few practical effects and stunt work, or the stunt work is added by CGI. It doesn't feel real anymore. It's like, yes, I know Indiana Jones fell out of a plane in a raft and survived. Okay, I know he was on top of a tank battling Nazis. I get it, it's exaggerated, but they all had that same aesthetic, which Crystal Skull just forgoes completely. It's like, yeah, I don't give a shit matching this up to the look of those original movies. Who cares? And it never sat well with me. Where it's like, I can totally believe that Indiana Jones is running through a temple being chased by boulders as darts are shooting out of the wall. That's fine. I believe that. But I'm sorry, but I don't believe that this 65-year-old man can climb into a fridge and then survive a nuclear explosion, is blasted into the air and sails for miles away. It's like, it's not the same thing. It's just not the same thing to me. It doesn't match. And that's always bothered me. That's why I'm also concerned for this 5th movie. I'm like, I'm happy Steven Spielberg's not directing it, nor should he, because he's not the same filmmaker he was in the 70s or 80s and 90s. He's not that anymore. That's fine. That happens. You can't be on top forever. Is he one of the greatest filmmakers of all time? Of course he is. But he just doesn't have it in him to do that. And I'm glad he passed it to James Mangold, who I wish the best of luck to. I think he's a great filmmaker. I love Logan. Ford vs. Ferrari was great. But we'll see. We'll see. Steven Spielberg lost the plot because he couldn't rely on racist stereotypes for his bad guys. Well, yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. A couple other ones, though. A couple of the ones that I was thinking about. No, Logan was really good. Logan's really good. Ford vs. Ferrari is really good. I like James Mangold. I even like The Wolverine. He was just kind of, he had his hands behind his tied behind his back with that one. He could only do certain things. By the time Deadpool came out, he's like, all right. Fox said, do whatever the hell you want. We got that. So he did an amazing job on West Side Story, which I have not seen. That was the movie I was just like, I just didn't care to watch it. I was like, West Side Story remake, really? But everyone that I've talked to who has seen it said it's one of their favorite movies of the year. So, hey, I'll check it out eventually, I guess. But I'm not rushing to. I feel like there's other things I want to see before West Side Story remake. But another franchise, and you know it, chat. I've talked about it many times before. Alien, the Alien franchise. We start off so incredibly well with the original film. It's gothic horror set in space. It's about these blue-collar truckers, these blue-collar workers who are caught in a horrifying situation. So you already feel for them. They already feel real and grounded. They're not pretty. They're not pretty people. They're like any fucking schmuck or schlub you see on the street, chat. They all have their own little cliques. They all have their various interests and their own little neuroses and things. They feel real. And now, and even in space, is something as fantastical as space travel. They've made mundane. I thought that's brilliant. I love how gritty and dirty the world is, and the fact that they encounter this alien organism, which they're thoroughly unprepared for, makes it all the more horrifying, chat. I love the original Alien. And then James Cameron looked at that film and go, okay, I'm going to make a sequel, but I'm going to take, obviously everything that worked about that movie, but I'm also going to do my own spin on it, where instead of making a gothic horror film in space, he made a war movie. He made an sci-fi action film set in space. And it's like, okay, we saw from the blue-collar workers' perspective. Let's see from the military's perspective. It's about mothers, these two warring mothers, and Ellen Ripley, and then the alien queen, and them going at it. Like, we were invested in those various ways. Introduces to a whole another list of characters, like bishops and Hicks, who we were endeared to, who felt grounded in real, thanks to the writing and the performances of those actors, of Michael Biehn and Lance Henriksen, respectively, and an incredible performance by Sigourney Weaver and Ripley. And then they fucked it. And then they fucked it up. They fucked it up after that. We haven't gotten a good Alien movie since 1986's Aliens, chat. Nearly 40 fucking years ago. Nearly 35 years ago, we haven't gotten a good Alien movie. It's insane to me. We got Alien 3, which they didn't even know what the hell it is. They're like, let's just take all these ideas we have, Prison Planet, Wooden Planet with monks, You know, let's kill off the characters you love from the second movie. Kill them off in the credits. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? It's Alien. We're gonna make money. And the franchise speaks for itself. The rest of this franchise. Alien, I've done my reviews. You know my reviews. Alien 3, awful. Alien Resurrection, awful. The AVP films. I mean, I even like, you know, if I had to pick out of all the films we've gotten since Alien 3 on, up to, I guess, Covenant now, I would say AVP, the first Alien vs. Predator, is my favorite. It's a rental. It's not an enthusiastic. It's a rental. It's fun occasionally. But I would watch those movies over any of these other films. And then we got, you know, Ridley Scott. Oh, Ridley Scott. The same thing with Spielberg. The same thing with Lucas. You know, he came back. He's like, oh, the OG guy, the guy that did it all, one of my favorite movies of all time. He nails it. He made Prometheus. Like, wow, you forgot everything that made that movie so good in the first place. Why, in this movie that takes place in the past, in the Alien franchise, chat, you know, it takes place before the events, like 40 years before the events of the original Alien movie. Why is everything so clean? Why are there holograms everywhere? Why is everything a touch screen? What happened to that gritty, lived-in world that we got in those first movies? What happened? And it was just because, it's that laziness. Where it's like, oh, it's just the way technology is. I like to use the CGI. I like the clean look. It's like, no, but that's not what made that world so endearing and real. You forgot your own aesthetics. You created that aesthetic and you forgot it. And so that always bothered me. And it repeats itself in Covenant, which I don't know which one's worse. Prometheus, Covenant, I don't know. I don't like either of those films yet. Okay, on speaking of Alien 4 needs a roast. And, oh, definitely. They'll do those, those will definitely happen. And poor David Fincher, he didn't get to tell a story. He was a huge fan. I'm sure he was. No, I'm sure he was. I mean, he got railroaded with that one. I don't blame David Fincher for that movie. Before that, he did music videos and commercials. This was his first big project. No, he got fucked over. So that was an incredibly difficult and hard job for him. But he bounced back. Viper Felix Low, I hated Prometheus. Dumbest smart people of all time. Like, that movie's about scientists doing the dumbest thing possible, chat. I love that you have a scientist who is afraid of a bunch of, which anyone would be, like, justifiably. There's a big corpse pile of alien bodies. Some killed them years ago. I'm getting the fuck out of here. And yet, in the next scene, when he sees this giant vagina snake come out of this black goo and go, he goes, it's beautiful, and reaches out to touch it. Okay? You have this one, you have all these scientists who are constantly putting their hands in black goo and messing with stuff and ingesting things, taking off their helmets. No human has set foot on this world ever in the history of ever, chat, which is a lot of time, okay? And this guy, whose whole career is about xenoscience, says, I'm going to take my helmet off in this foreign world. It's like, why? Just because the air is breathable? You don't know what's in that air. There's oxygen, but what if there's like fucking microbes? And then look at you, became a zombie worm man. That's what happens. It forgot what it was. Chat. Where you have these soldiers and these blue-collar space truckers are far more intelligent and competent and worldly than these scientists. Unbelievable. Space dementia. They had space dementia. That's the only thing I can think of. That's what happens in Covenant and in Prometheus. Oh, my Lord. The first rule of science, say, fuck it. That's how it is, Jeff. Oh, my God. And the last one, Chad, it was, I thought, I was like, you know what, this one too, Pirates of the Caribbean. Because when you think about that original movie, which I really love, I've done a review for that film with last year, the Curse of the Black Pearl, and that really brought back the action-adventure movies of the 80s, of like something like Raiders of the Lost Ark. It had a lot of the same sensibilities and aesthetics as Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I really liked it for that. And then Johnny Depp gave a great performance, and I love by the end of that movie, those three characters of Jack Sparrow and Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann, they were all friends. And I really liked that. And it defied everyone's expectations because you remember, chat, back before the movie came out, everyone's like, you're making a movie about the Pirates of the Caribbean Disney World ride? That's what you're doing? Oh, give me a break, please. Please. The movie came out, it's like, oh, wow, this is great. This is so much fun. And it is. It's a fun movie. And then I think all the sequels became what we thought the first movie was going to be, where it literally became just a theme park ride, where it was all about these giant CGI, stunts and action scenes and no character, just character development just gone. One of the things that, because I know a lot of people still say to this day, they really love the, a lot of people like the second one, Dead Man's Chest, I think that's what it's called. Pirates 2, whatever. And I never liked it. And one of the things that always bothered me in that movie, and it's in the first third of the film, is how, for whatever reason, even though in the end of the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, when Jack and Will and Elizabeth are all friends, they're all in good terms. Like Will was like, I will die to protect Jack Sparrow. I will die because he's a good person. He's shown himself to be a good person, despite being a pirate. And in the next movie, they're all trying to fucking kill each other. He's trying to kill Jack. It's like, what the fuck happened? They're all backstabbing each other. It's like, that never made any sense to me. And it just it caught me off guard, and it just kind of just poisoned the movie for me. And they're always like that in the other sequels too. Same thing with the third one too. They're all like, oh, this fucking backstabbing, and they're making deals, and I hated that. I really hated that. And I feel like those movies just, they didn't focus on the things that people really identified with, or that they liked. It's like, let's just give more goofy stuff for Johnny Depp to do, and let's have big CGI stunts. And I was like, no, you could have all these fun action scenes, there's no doubt, but there were some really good practical scenes in that movie. Yes, of course, we're CGI assisted, but there was some practical stuff in there. I liked that by the end of that movie that everyone was on good terms with each other and they were friends. Like, what was this unnecessary conflict you had to create in these sequels? So, yeah, and then every Pirates movie became worse than the last one. But that first one, I always say that first one is a great action adventure film from the early 2000s. Chat, really good. It holds up. The CGI even in that movie holds up pretty well. I mean, maybe a little dated, but overall, it's like, wow, this was pretty good. It's pretty good. Then when they made the smart choice to film a lot of the CGI scenes in the dark, a lot of black and blue color schemes they had at those like night battles and stuff. So I think that really helped improve the films. What about you guys? What are you saying? Deadpool, remember the big epic battle against the Kraken? Me neither, because they kill off... Yeah, I know, the Kraken. That was such a big thing in the trailers and stuff. I was disappointed by the Kraken. Who gives a shit? They're pirates, Chris. I know they're pirates, but they were so cool in the first film. I thought 1 was good and 2 was decent, but the rest are pretty meh. 2 and 3 are bloated, but interesting messes. 4 is a snooze, and 5 is just the first movie, reheated. Ooh, microwave. Your theme park ride, oh! Like Pirates of the Caribbean? Sure, pretty much created Jack Sparrow. Jim Carrey was originally going to... Really? Jim Carrey was going to be Sparrow? Wow. That would have been cool. That would have been really cool to see you. I wouldn't have minded that. Yeah. Space dementia. Got this, those long journeys giving you the space dimension, Prometheus. They could have said that. It affected their mental capacity or something. It's like some excuse for why they're so stupid in that movie. And the first one is one of my favorite lines. You best believe in ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one. It's great. Trevor Rush killed in that movie? Yeah. I fucking hated, tentacle, what's his name, Davy Jones. He sucked. He was boring. He had a tentacle beard. And he played the piano of his tentacles. I'm like, this is dumb. Captain Hentai, chat. I have to do reviews for those movies one day. I don't look forward to it. But I'm going to call him Captain Hentai. He ain't no goddamn Davy Jones and stupid octopus beard. Bill Nye plays a character, by the way. Jim Carrey would have been doing a Scotch accent. Yeah, would have been doing that. Well, that would have made sense if he's suddenly like, oh, it's his Jack Sparrow impression. I see. Or it's him as Jack Sparrow. But now it's like, no. Maybe that's what he originally was going to do. This is what I would have done if I was casting Pirates of the Caribbean. Deadpool, then the later sequels where it's the Jack Sparrow being wacky for like 2. Yeah, that's all they are. That's all they are. After that. That's what like the last 2 were. Casper, I couldn't stand Dead Man's Chest because it made me sit for hours just for basically, yeah, just a shitty cliffhanger. And I just didn't like it, too. Like, that ending where Elizabeth betrays Jack and he's killed. I was like, fuck this. That just, I didn't like it, Jeff. I did not like it. Captain Hentai. I've seen Jack Sparrow in the Hub. Glee, Captain Hentai was too bad. I thought, yes. Yeah. Crusaders 5 also blatantly rips off the final big scene from Fast 5, but replaces the cars of horses. I'm trying to remember. Like, I saw the movie. I don't even fucking remember. Oh, did I say Dead Man's Breast? Oh, whoops. Freudian slip, chat. Thinking about boobs. It happens. But I hope that answers your question, Thomas Leaf. Ace Rock, again, thank you so much, good sir, for being a subscriber on the Patreon. An absolute pleasure to have you here. That was fun. Very good questions this week, chat. Oh, no, Chris Ayers. I'm sorry, I got to answer Chris Ayers' question. I totally forgot again. My apologies, chat. And this is not the last question of the evening. I have Chris Ayers' question right here. All right, y'all, I'm out. Good night, everyone. Stay juicy, Ace Rock. Thank you for stopping by the stream, good sir. Have a great night. Cheers and salute to you. Got a little bit more left in here. So, this is Chris Ayers' question, chat. So, the 355 just came out this weekend and is bombing like crazy. Can I tell you why? Because it's called the 355. What the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? So if that's your question, I think that's the reason why, but I'll continue reading. It's the newest movie from Simon Kinberg, the auteur behind the legendary masterpiece Dark Phoenix, and allegedly the reshoots on Fan 4 Stick. So he's gone from the one big epic bomb to another big epic bomb. Who are some of your top examples of directors who regularly make unwatchable garbage and yet still are able to find more and more work in spite of the abject failure of their previous work? Directors that fail upwards, basically. Well, you know what? I talked about several directors recently who I feel like they've kind of lost it. They've lost a step. But they have, their past works have been great. And like someone like Ridley Scott, like he's that guy who is constantly making like 1 or 2 movies per year. Like his output is nuts. And then maybe that might be also the reason why a lot of his films, I would say, in the last 20 years have not been all that great or just disappointing. Because I know this year he made 2 movies. He did House of Gucci, which I've heard everything from it's one of the worst movies of the year to it's bad, but it's laughably bad, so you might enjoy it for that. But he also made The Last Duel, which I've heard great things about, but no one saw. Yeah, and of course, you know, his recent alien movies like Prometheus and Covenant, I'm no fans. I'm not a fan of, as you guys know. Other stuff. What was that other movie? What was that? Oh God, what was that awful movie he made? It was not The Continental, The Consultant, or something. He was, I forget what that was. The one with Javier Bardem and that one actress fucks the car, you know, for like 5 minutes. I was like, what the hell's going on? Like that. I mean, for Ridley Scott's, I mean, I get it. He's grandfathered into the system. You know, he's been making movies since the late 70s, so he's gonna keep doing The Counselor. That's it. I remember that. I like House of Gucci. That's fine. You can like it. I've heard a lot of people have enjoyed it. I've heard that it's, you know, it's the kind of movie you enjoy but you laugh at. But yeah, he's one of those guys that I've just gotten tired of. It's like just stop, or concentrate on a single project and just don't do like 1 or 2 movies every year. Maybe do one every couple years. Do something like that. A couple other people. M. Night Shyamalan is one of those guys who, you know, wow, what a great start to your career, and something like The Sixth Sense and Unbreakable. 2 movies I would probably each give either a high full price or Better Than Sex. Beautiful films. And then he just started to go down in quality and stuff like, you know, Signs, and eventually he did, you know, like The Village, and it's like, all right, I get it, doing the whole shtick thing with the twist. And then we're starting to get in like just outright like awful territory with things like The Happening. What? No! And all that. And then, of course, The Last Airbender, which I still consider to be one of the worst movies ever made. And you know, I've changed the trajectory of that property based on what he did in that movie. So I got some personal things in regards to that film, which I don't usually get personal, but that's like, you fucked that up. You really fucked that up, and he fucked over a lot of people on that film, and the creators of the initial property. I mean, it still bothers me to this day. And then he kind of had like a brief comeback with stuff like Split, which I was very mixed on. But then he's done other things like Glass, which I think is awful, and the most recently Old, which I'm like, I don't care. He's one of those guys like, hey, he keeps getting work, and I guess he self-finances a lot of his movies, but I'm just sick of him. You know, he never course corrects. He never looks inward and like the major criticisms I had with a lot of his movies recently is that none of his characters act normal. Like his dialogue is so it's stilted and wooden. It's like people don't talk this way. Like I did my review of Old Chat, which I just did like a regular review. I went into some spoiler details, but I just remember in the opening of that film, you have the one character. It's the couple, and this one character has seizures, and he's the husband of this woman who has these seizures. And this one doctor comes over, and he's trying to help this woman. And the husband character is like, "Hi, my name is Dr. So-and-so. This is my wife. I'm a doctor." It's like, I know that. You said that. But it's like, it's almost like a child, like what a child would say. Like, "I'm a doctor. Did I mention that I'm also a doctor?" And it's like, what are you doing? It's thoroughly bizarre. So he's one of those guys that I still, rapper, mid-size sedan. Oh. Yeah, come on. So M. Night Shyamalan's one of those, Ridley Scott's one of those guys. I'm trying to think. I mean, I don't want to say Steven Spielberg, but I just feel I've just not been interested in him in like any. What movie did he make this decade that I liked? I'm trying to think of anything that he's made. Like, I wouldn't even say like they're all bad. They're not bad movies, but stuff like The Post or Bridge of Spies, I was like, they're fine. They're whatever. It's like, that's like a movie you would take your grandfather or grandmother to and go like, "Oh, it's great." Like one of those. And then like his attempts at blockbusters are like the BFG or Ready Player One. And I was like, yeah, I just, I know. I don't like it. I think these would have been handled better in the hands of other people, like a Taika Waititi or Edgar Wright or something. Yeah, he's just one of those. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Lincoln. I just wasn't big. I really just didn't like that movie. Not my thing. I'm jarring. That's what he says. Wes Anderson characters, the kids act like adults, the adults act like kids. I'm like, I'll copy that, but I'll make it feel like it came out of a text and speech robot. Yeah. Yes. We're going to make everyone sounds wooden. No one sounds authentic at all. I'm trying to think of like some other filmmakers. Like, but I get why. Like, because I won't even I'm not a fan of James Wan, but I understand why he is successful as he is, why he's such a great businessman. The Saw films, they hit at a time where people were really interested in the torture porn kind of subgenre, and Ghost Supernatural stuff has always done well. And so, like, I get it. I might not be a fan of it personally, but I get why those movies do well. Tintin is the best Spielberg film. I didn't even like Tintin. I thought it was fine. I thought it was okay. I don't know. And I was excited for that movie. I just didn't care for it. It's nuts. Munich was good. Yeah, chat. I don't know. Those, but yeah, I think that the Ridley Scott and M. Night Shyamalan are two of those directors right now. It's like, I'm kind of shocked you keep getting work. It's nuts. A little bit at the same time, M. Night Shyamalan, he self-finances a lot of his movies, so I think that's why he is able to do what he wants to do, clearly. And Ridley Scott's is one of those guys, like, I've been around for nearly 50 years, so I can do whatever I want. And so I was like, all right, fair enough. What about the rest of you guys? I'm thinking on the spot, and I'm sure I can think of some other directors or some other people that have like failed upwards. I guess Paul W.S. Anderson might be one guy. The thing with Paul W.S. Anderson is that his movies are bad, but so many of them make money. Like the Resident Evil films, they always were in the black. Yeah, he's had some flops throughout his career. Like, there's no doubt about that. Everything from, Event Horizon, which did not perform well commercially. It's a cult film now. That didn't perform very well. And, like, Three Musketeers, I think was a bomb. And I guess Monster Hunter was, that was during the pandemic, so that's probably a bomb, too. Brett Ratner, well, that's a going tart. Brett Ratner, but he made stuff like Rush Hour 1 and Rush Hour 2, which I actually really like. But, yeah, since then, definitely. When did Rush Hour 2 come out? 2001? So it's been a while. Clint Eastwood, that's a good one, Vanny. No, Clint Eastwood, he's one of those guys. I agree with you, but much like Ridley Scott, it's like, even though I have not liked your output in a decade, he's one of those guys that he's grandfathered into the system. He'll be able to keep doing what he's doing. But no, he's one of those, like the last movie his that I liked was Letters from Iwo Jima, which was that year where he did 2 World War II movies, and it told the perspective of the Battle of Iwo Jima on the American side, which I think was called like Flags of Our Fathers, which I thought was fine. But I thought Letters of Iwo Jima was really interesting. And that was one of my favorite movies that year. I think was that 2007? I want to say that movie came out. It was a long time ago. So it was 15 years ago. So, and then after that, like, I can't think of another Eastwood film that I liked. Oh, Ben Falcone. That's a good one. That's guy that feels like, yeah, all of his movies are fucking awful. That's a great one. Paul Feige. Paul Feige's made some movies that I've liked, though. I really like Spy. I like Spy a lot. And some of his dramedies I've liked, but yeah. And, you know, I mean, again, I'm not a fan of it, but what was it? What's the Kristen Wiig, Bridesmaids. Like, I'm not particularly a big fan of that movie, but that movie did really well. Yeah. Let's see what else you guys are saying right now. I'm curious. Again, you should see West Side Story. I love the full. I'll check it out. Check it out. Michael Bay. Michael America Bay. Yeah. Joel Schumacher. Well, you know, Joel Schumacher, the thing is, everyone, yeah, Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, but he's made some great movies too. Stuff like The Lost Boys, that was him. He's made some great films. And he's sadly passed away, I think, the last decade. Let's see what you guys are saying. Guy who made Chronicle. Oh, Josh Trank. Yeah. Yeah. Well, though, I mean, he's burned a lot of bridges, though. Like, Chronicle is what got him in the door, and then Fan Four Stick. That's done in Capone. Yeah, that guy's kind of fucked up his life. I would encourage you guys, there's this great article in Super Honest where Josh Trank just talks about what his life has been like since Chronicle. It's fascinating. Everything that failed to Fan Four Stick. It was leading up to the release of Capone, which is also an awful movie. But yeah. No studio wanted to make the visit after his last few movies, so he decided just to use his own money to make it, and then sell to Universal, and he's kept that going for the last. So yeah, I guess that's what's working. That's working. Facts of Father and Letters, Iwo Jima. 2008, that's what it was? Okay. But yeah, Ben Falcone, that's a good one, Vanny. I always forget about him. He's a guy that's failed upwards. Chris Harris, John Moore literally had never made a good movie before being given the keys of Die Hard with the 5th movie, and then driving the whole franchise off a cliff. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else he's done. Gran Torino was good from Clint Eastwood, but everything. I'm that guy. I don't like Gran Torino. I really dislike that film. You know, he's good in it. I think his acting is good, but all of the child actors in that movie are awful. That's the thing that Clint Eastwood. Okay, I don't know what this is with him. He cannot work with kids. He cannot. I will give Spielberg this. Spielberg or like Richard Donner or those people back in the day. Those iconic films from the 80s and stuff. They knew how to work with children. Clint Eastwood does not know how to work with children. Gran Torino is a perfect example. I really dislike the acting of those kids in those movies, those teenagers. And most recently, Chad, in Cry Macho. That's on my. So, if you recently listened to the Sunday service this past week, I talked about my worst of movies, and his film Cry Macho is like number 9 or something. And one of the big reasons for that is because the whole premise of the movie is it's a father and son story, you know, or like a father figure and son story where Clint Eastwood befriends this kid who's been sent to Mexico to get, and most of the time you're spent with them, and that kid's acting is fucking awful. He sucks. I don't think Clint Eastwood knows how to work with children. That's what I can think of. Thank you, by the way, to Chris of the 5 Days. Read your comment in just a second. Just going down the list right now. Sayonara, Gary Marshall. He got famous for direct pre-woman. Yeah, after that, he did Valentine's Day. Ooh, New Year's Eve and Mother's Day. Shit. Yeah. St. Elmo's Fire, Phone Booth, all Schumacher. Yeah, it's true. I like those movies. Thing of Joe is he played with every... He did play with every genre. Thrillers, horror. Yeah. Ruben Fleischer. Yeah, I like Zombieland, but ever since then, I haven't seen anything from him I've liked. Speaking of Schumacher, we get Bad Company on the Pole, the movie with Chris Rock. And I think I never saw that one before. Interesting. Lucky Mel Gibson, respect for the Passion of the Christ, though. JT, Tim Burton. Yeah, he's one of the, yeah. That's a good one. To Crusade Before Die Hard, he did Behind the Enemy Lines, the Omen remake, and Max Payne. Oof. Casey, yeah, Cry Macho's pretty awful, one of the worst, agreed. Well, I thought Thunder Force was terrible. It just missed my worst, definitely top 15, because the others had more potential that wasn't used. I don't think Balcony has the potential to make a good movie. Yeah, we haven't seen it yet. Certainly haven't seen it yet, but he's one of those guys that has failed upward. Yeah. It's father and son story like we haven't seen it. I know 1,000, which that's common tropes and shit, but he could even do the tropes right. Eastwood's been directing movies for 60 years? 50 years? It's nuts. He can't even do those. Yeah. Did you watch Richard? I didn't watch Richard Jewell. Did I watch that movie? No. No, I have. No, I have watched the Richard Jewell movie. No, shit. It's been, God, I forgot. The one with Kathy Bates. Yeah. It's better than Cry Macho. No doubt about it. I like it. I think Kathy Bates gives an incredible performance in that movie. But that movie has some, it's weird. It's very much one of those kind of biopics where it's like, well, we're going to take some of this information, but we're going to ignore all this shit. And it's like, all right. Yeah. But that one I thought was okay. If I just judge it on the filmmaking itself, the acting, the writing and stuff, I liked it. But it has some problems. But yeah, Chad, I guess if I thought Ben Falcone is an excellent choice. Like that man has never made a good movie. I can think of these are the people I've listed. Like they've made good movies. Like Shyamalan has made great movies. Ridley Scott has made great movies. It's just recently I don't think they have. But Ben Falcone, that's a good fucking answer. That man, terrible output, awful output. Yeah, Richard Jewell was with Paul Blart was a drama. Yes, that's about right. America Welbeck, I'm not even sure who that is. Yeah, some of you guys mentioned stuff I'm not familiar with. That's crazy. But that is the last question of the evening, chat, from Mr. Zack Snyder. Well, the thing is, like, Zack Snyder, like, he started off great with his Dawn of the Dead remake. Ever since then, he's like, man, even I like 300. I like 300. It's like a matinee. Thank you, by the way, to Ghost of the Fall. You're my new Huckleberry, new Grinch. Hope you're having a very nice evening. But yeah, but even all the directors I mentioned, they've all had like some success early in the careers or midway through the careers or something. Just recently, a lot of people I'm thinking of, they just, the latter part, not great at all. And even Zack Snyder, like early, sure, but yeah, after that, not a fan, not a fan to say the least. But chat, thank you for all those questions. I am just gonna take a quick break, gonna refill my beverage, and I'm gonna see what you guys want to do next. You want to do some Jackbox or maybe some Among Us. In the meantime, please entertain yourselves amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. Stick around.